Back in the 90s, Blockbuster was the face of video entertainment in America. The company was founded in 1985, and within just a decade, Blockbuster had become a household name and a dominant entertainment business that almost everyone used. The company grew to have over 9,000 stores in the United States alone, and was at one point valued at over $8 billion. But despite this early dominance, Blockbuster quickly fell from grace and filed for bankruptcy in 2010 due to rising losses, massive debt, and increasing competition from more tech-savvy companies like Netflix. Nowadays, only one Blockbuster store remains in Bend, Oregon, and it has survived mainly as a tourist attraction and novelty, a reminder of a different era. So what caused Blockbuster's meteoric rise and fall? It's actually a more complicated story than you might think. In 1985, Blockbuster was founded by a man named David Cook, who had grown interested in the video rental business after researching the business model. At the time, VHS players had been invented about 9 years prior and were just starting to become prevalent among consumers. As VHS players spread and became commonplace, this created a huge market for video rental businesses overnight, and David Cook saw the massive opportunity for a successful video rental franchise. Cook seized the opportunity and opened the first Blockbuster store in Dallas, Texas in October of 1985. That first store featured over 8,000 VHS tapes, and the opening night for the store was so successful that Cook recalls they had to eventually lock the doors to keep customers out and prevent the store from being totally overwhelmed. Video rental stores and franchises existed before Blockbuster, but David Cook was able to improve the business model even further, which made Blockbuster an instant success. Cook had a background working with software databases from his prior ventures, so he was able to create a thorough inventory system using barcodes to track the movements of 10,000 films per store. This gave Blockbuster a huge advantage over smaller video stores that could only keep track of a small number of video rentals at a time. By comprehensively tracking all of their video rentals through barcoding and the database, they were able to offer a larger selection of films on their shelves and make lots of money off of late fees when VHSs were not returned on time. With Blockbuster becoming an instant success, Cook began scaling the business by building warehouses to store inventory and introduce new stores through a franchise model. The rapid success of Blockbuster quickly attracted attention from outside investors. Just 2 years later, a group of investors, including Wayne Huizenga, the co-founder of the massive company Waste Management, acquired Blockbuster. With this new high-profile investment capital and the prior business experience of Wayne Huizenga, Blockbuster began to expand more rapidly than ever, and soon the company was literally opening a new store every 24 hours. The company was also aggressively buying out competitor video rental businesses and turning them into Blockbuster locations. By the early 90s, Blockbuster was a household name and was even sponsoring high-profile college football bowl games. Blockbuster had quickly become a multi-billion-dollar company, and its success was astonishing. But not everything was perfect. Huizenga was a smart businessman, and he was wisely already concerned about the potential of Blockbuster being disrupted by evolving technology. He was particularly concerned about the rise of cable television. For these reasons, in 1994, Huizenga decided to sell Blockbuster to the giant media conglomerate Viacom for $8.4 billion. Soon after, Viacom brought in Taco Bell's former president, John Antioco, to be Blockbuster's new CEO. Under Viacom and John Antioco's leadership, Blockbuster began to make a series of critical business mistakes that would undermine the future of the company. By 1997, DVDs were rapidly replacing VHS as the dominant home video format. Warner Brothers approached Blockbuster during this time and offered the company an exclusive rental deal, meaning that Blockbuster would have exclusive rights to offer and rent out new DVD releases for a time before they would be released to retail stores and consumers for purchase. In return for this exclusivity, Warner Brothers asked to receive 40% of these rental revenues in return, which was the same revenue split they had in an existing deal they had in place for VHS releases. But Blockbuster was unwilling to do the revenue split for DVDs, so they declined the deal. This led to Warner Brothers responding by lowering its DVD wholesale prices in order to compete directly with Blockbuster and the video rental industry as a whole. With DVDs suddenly becoming very affordable, big box retailers like Walmart began selling DVDs at an even steeper discount than wholesale prices, in the hopes of attracting more customers to their stores and selling them other products. The fact that super affordable DVDs were available for purchase at stores began to undermine Blockbuster's entire business model and value proposition. Blockbuster was unable to stay competitive with these new cheaper DVD prices, because it no longer made as much sense for consumers to spend that much money on a rental when they could outright own the DVD for only a little more money. But let's talk about the elephant in the room now. The mistake that everyone remembers the most clearly is how Blockbuster handled its competition with Netflix. Netflix entered the video rental business in 1997 as a mail-order DVD rental service. People could rent DVDs from Netflix online from the convenience of their homes and have the DVD shipped to them. This meant that you no longer had to take a trip to the local Blockbuster to rent the latest movie. You could just get your DVDs in the mail from Netflix. The company started its business using a per rental pricing model, but by 1999, Netflix was already transitioning to a subscription model where customers could rent as many DVDs as they wanted a month for a flat fee. The Netflix subscription also had no due dates, no late fees, and you didn't even have to pay for shipping, just the flat monthly subscription cost. This made it a much better deal than Blockbuster for people that wanted to rent a lot of movies. But while this was an amazing customer experience and service, all of this was also incredibly expensive, and Netflix was losing money very quickly. Netflix had actually been trying to approach Blockbuster for months about potentially selling the company. Eventually, Blockbuster finally agreed to meet with Netflix's founders about a sale. In the meeting, Netflix pitched the idea of being acquired by Blockbuster and forming a combined business. Their idea was that Netflix's team could run the online portion of the combined business, and Blockbuster could focus on the brick-and-mortar retail stores. This combined company could then dominate the movie rental space both in brick-and-mortar stores and online. However, John Antioco, Blockbuster's CEO, responded by saying that, quote, "The dot-com hysteria is completely overblown," unquote. A member of Blockbuster's general counsel that was in the meeting then claimed that Netflix's business model and other online businesses at the time were not sustainable and that they would never make a profit. After the two sides debated the future of the online business model, John Antioco then finally asked how much Netflix's asking price would be for buying the company. Netflix's founders then replied that they would sell for $50 million. Antioco and Blockbuster scoffed at the price and declined the offer. Declining the $50 million buyout would eventually haunt Blockbuster, as Netflix would continue to take market share from them and help put them out of business. And today, as of the recording of this video, Netflix is valued at over $250 billion. But despite Blockbuster's hubris, it's not like they were completely ignoring the online market or the competition from Netflix. They were just a much larger company that thought that they could beat Netflix outright. A classic case of underestimating the competition. Around that same time in mid-2000 when they declined to buy Netflix, Blockbuster had entered a 20-year deal to create a video-on-demand service with Enron, where customers could watch movies on demand directly on their TVs and computers. This was well before even Netflix had entered into the video-on-demand space. However, Enron would pull out of the deal just 8 months later and said that Blockbuster was not providing enough movies to make the service work. Shortly after, Enron would also later be exposed for fraud and file for bankruptcy in 2001. After Blockbuster failed to prioritize launching its video-on-demand service, it also began to lose more and more market share to Netflix and failed to respond to its competitor quickly enough. It took Blockbuster until 2004 to start offering its own DVD by mail service in competition with Netflix. And when the company advertised that they were removing late fees in 2005, the company was later sued by 47 states for false advertising, after Blockbuster customers were being charged the full retail price for the DVD after 7 days passed. Customers were outraged because the company did not clearly state in its no late fees marketing that after 7 days of the DVD not being returned, the customer would automatically be charged for a full purchase of the DVD and they would own it. Even though Blockbuster continued to make blunder after blunder, and they had been slow to react to the threat of Netflix, John Antioco and Blockbuster did begin to finally fight back and capture business online. Blockbuster's DVD subscription service was gaining online market share, and Netflix founder Reed Hastings even pointed to it in an analyst call. Blockbuster's online service reached 2 million subscribers and was putting pressure on Netflix. They also launched a service called Blockbuster Total Access that allowed their online subscribers to return their DVDs at brick-and-mortar Blockbuster stores and immediately pick up a different DVD for free. Unfortunately, while this online subscription was successful, it was also an expensive investment that was losing Blockbuster money. Blockbuster was losing about $2 on every DVD rented through the Total Access plan. Due to this increasing debt from the online business and Blockbuster's stock price rapidly declining, the activist investor Carl Icahn began a power struggle to gain control in the company. He had a 10% stake in the company's shares, and using this, he was able to secure seats for himself and 2 other members on Blockbuster's board of directors. Carl Icahn was most interested in immediately raising the stock price and making Blockbuster more profitable in the near term. So he pushed to eliminate the online portion of Blockbuster's business and focus on the more profitable brick-and-mortar stores. After a power struggle, Carl Icahn was able to remove John Antioco as CEO in 2007. With Antioco gone, Blockbuster stopped focusing on the online business and once again began to lose substantial market share to Netflix. When Antioco was forced out, he immediately sold his Blockbuster shares and used the money to buy Netflix's stock, since he knew that Netflix had won the online market after he was forced out by Icahn. Carl Icahn would later admit that his activist investor role at Blockbuster was the worst investment he ever made, and that things might have turned out differently had they left Antioco as CEO and continued to invest in Blockbuster's online business. But after years of failures to innovate and being slow to react to online competition, the rising losses finally took their toll on Blockbuster. During 2010, the company began to close 960 stores in order to conserve money. Later that year, the company was delisted from the New York Stock Exchange after it failed to meet the minimum listing requirements of maintaining a stock price above $1. The company was nearly $1 billion in debt at this point and was unable to pay its creditors. With no other options left, Blockbuster filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2010 and faded into irrelevance with continued store closures. Nowadays, only one Blockbuster store remains in Bend, Oregon, as the last reminder of what was once a dominant entertainment business. But be sure to let me know what you think about Blockbuster's collapse in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe to the channel for more finance and business content. Thanks.